Here are the top stories for today, February 11, 2022. Situation improving. A group says Metro Manila is likely to shift to very low risk for COVID-19 by March. But the health department is worried over poll campaign activities, drawing crowds that may become super spreader events. The government aims to fully inoculate 70 million Filipinos by the end of March. Employers are urged to give leeway to their workers who will have their children jobs as the Bayanihan Bakunahan drive continues. A division of the Commission on Elections allows Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos to run for president, junking disqualification cases against the former senator. Good day, I'm Marita Muahe. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. COVID-19 is still around, but in Metro Manila, things may be looking up, as the Octa research group anticipates the risk of coronavirus infection dropping significantly by March. Octa said the National Capital Region may see as low as 140 new cases per day, which it called the magic number to achieve very low-risk classification. Metro Manila was already at very low risk in December 2021 before the spread of the Omicron variant. In a Twitter post, Octa fellow Dr. Guido David said since February 8, the NCR has been averaging just 600 new COVID-19 cases per day. He said the latest projections show a decrease to less than 200 new cases per day by end of February. David advised the public to continue complying with the minimum public health protocols to keep COVID-19 cases low. Filipinos are already excited for the national and local elections this early in 2022. But the Department of Health warns that the election fever may be followed by high fever, followed by cough, colds, chills, and other symptoms of COVID-19. The DOH particularly expressed concern over the weak enforcement and compliance with health and safety protocols since the first day of campaign sorties on Tuesday. The DOH cited reports of supporters in proclamation rallies not wearing masks or violating distancing protocols. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire stressed the need for stricter enforcement, monitoring, and sanctions. She said the widespread violations carry the potential risk of another surge in COVID-19 cases. Vergeire urged candidates and local officials to do their part to enforce these safety protocols. The Philippine National Police also reported violations of distancing and health protocols by some supporters of certain candidates. Nevertheless, it said the first day of the campaign was generally peaceful. The government targets to fully vaccinate at least 70 million Filipinos against COVID-19 by March 31. Dr. Ted Herbosa, the special medical advisor of the National Task Force Against COVID-19, said fully vaccinating at least 70 million individuals is crucial to achieving population protection in the entire country. The target complements the government's exit plan to the pandemic. The government on Thursday and Friday held the third Bayanihan Bakunahan massive vaccination drive to simultaneously inoculate at least 5 million Filipinos nationwide. Herbosa reiterated that the initiative aims to capacitate local government units that are still lagging in their vaccination drive, including the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Close to 59.8 million Filipinos are now fully vaccinated against COVID-19, including those who received single-dose Janssen vaccine and Sputnik Light jabs and booster doses. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor and Employment on Thursday urged private sector employers not to mark those workers who accompanied their children for the third Bayanihan Bakunahan as absent. The DOLE also asked establishments to allow employees to use their leave credits for the activity. It said the concerned workers only have to show proof of vaccination of their children. As Boracay reopens its doors to more tourists amid the pandemic, the island adds children aged 5 to 11 years old among its ranks of those vaccinated against COVID-19. Qualified children were treated to a beach party as they lined up for vaccination. National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. graced the rollout of pediatric vaccination at the Paradise Garden Resort Hotel and Convention Center. Joining him were Deputy Chief Implementer Vivencio Dizon, Tourism Secretary Berna Romulo Puyat, and the Office of the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas Undersecretary Anthony Gerard Gonzalez. The rollout coincides with the launch of Res Bakuna sa Butika in Boracay. The event aimed to initially vaccinate 150 children. After almost 2 years of closure due to COVID-19 pandemic restrictions, the Philippines welcomed the arrival of hundreds of foreign tourists on Thursday. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat welcomed passengers and conducted inspections of the tourist desks at the NAIA Terminal 3. A large chunk of the arrivals were from the United States and Thailand, followed by Malaysia, Canada, Japan, the United Arab Emirates, Indonesia, and Australia. Puyat reiterated that minimum health and safety standards would remain in place for the vaccinated foreigners. Based on the government's new guidelines, fully vaccinated travelers no longer need to undergo quarantine. However, they must present proof of vaccination, negative RT-PCR test results taken within 48 hours prior to departure, and outbound tickets to their country of origin or next country of destination. With the reopening of the Philippines borders to fully vaccinated foreign tourists and business travelers, the Bureau of Immigration anticipates a gradual increase in international passenger arrivals in the next few months. Immigration spokesperson Dana Sandoval, however, said the number of inbound foreign passengers is not expected to reach pre-pandemic figures, despite a significant increase in arrivals on Thursday. The BI said the number of inbound international travelers, including overseas Filipino workers, significantly increased from Wednesday's 4,816 to almost 7,000 on Thursday. Sandoval said the BI's manpower is in full force in time for the influx of inbound travelers. She said some 400 BI personnel have returned to work at the airport after battling with the virus. BI Commissioner Jaime Morente, meanwhile, said he hopes everything goes well as the country transitions towards the new normal. Still to come, close to 1,000 violators fall as the police cracks down on the use of firearms ahead of the polls. And it's a go so far for presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos as the poll body's First Division junks disqualification cases against him. Details ahead, keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Kung customer ka, pupuntahan mo ba yung mukhang safe naman o yung certified na safe? Ang safety seal ay patunay na certified safe ang iyong business dahil nasusunod ang minimum public health standards. Meron din itong QR code para mapadali ang contact tracing. Ito ay libre lang. Pero, kailangang i-renew every 6 months or every year kung nasa tourism sector ang iyong business. Kung meron ka ng mga documents na ito, pwede ka na mag-apply para sa Safety Seal Certification. May iba-ibang office para sa iba't ibang klase ng mga negosyo. Pag na-determine nyo na ang issuing authority, simple lang ang steps para makuha ang safety seal. Pumunta sa office ng issuing authority o sa kanilang website. Kumuha ng safety seal checklist at magsagawa ng self-assessment para sa iyong business. I-submit ang checklist at abangan ang inspection schedule. Pag na-approve ang application, bibigyan kayo ng safety seal sticker. Pag hindi naman na-approve, sasabihin kung anong health standard ang hindi nasunod at bibigyan kayo ng pagkakataong ayusin ito. Pag nakuha na ang safety seal, ipaskil ito sa may entrance para makita agad ng mga customer. Pwede nyo rin ipagmalaki na certified safe kayo sa inyong mga social media pages. Paalala lamang, ang isang safety seal ay para sa isang branch lang. Siguraduhin bawat branch mo ay certified safe. Siguraduhin din na nasusunod palagi ang minimum public health standards dahil baka mabawi ang iyong certification. Maaring mag-operate kahit na walang safety seal. Pero hindi ba mas mahalagang kampante ang mga customer sa loob ng iyong negosyo? Kaya kumuha na ng safety seal para ingat-angat tayong lahat.
Police have nabbed a total of 973 violators since the gun ban for the May 9 elections took effect, with majority coming from Metro Manila. The Philippine National Police said the National Capital Region topped the list of arrested gun ban violators with 290 suspects. Out of the total number of violators, 945 of them are civilians. Police confiscated 749 firearms and over 300 deadly weapons. Bearing, carrying, or transporting of firearms or deadly weapons are prohibited outside of residence and in all public places from January 9 until June 8. Authorized on-duty law enforcers are exempted from the ban. Violators may face jail time of not less than 1 year but not more than 6 years and shall not be subject to probation. They are also disqualified from voting, running for office, and owning a gun license. The Commission on Elections continues to remind candidates in the 2022 elections to follow campaign rules and do their part in keeping the polls peaceful, safe, and orderly. Here's our report from Bench Bondok.
The Commission on Elections in Benguet reiterated its call for candidates to follow campaign rules for the May 9 national and local elections, especially on the use of posters and the observance of health and safety protocols. The Comelec said the Philippine Military Academy homecoming from February 15 to 20 in Baguio City is not considered a political event and that there is no need for visiting candidates to secure a permit. However, those planning to hold rallies during that time must get a permit from the local campaign committee at least 3 days before the event. The Comelec will also lead the regular Oplan Baklas poster to remove campaign paraphernalia placed on prohibited areas and those that do not comply with the size requirements. Candidates in Bacolod City were also urged to abide by the rules during the campaign period. City Election Officer Revo Sorbito issued a call during the launch of the Kasimbayanan for Safe 2022 organized by the Bacolod City Police Office on Thursday. Several candidates took the time to swear an oath of commitment for peaceful elections and sign a peace covenant. The Comelec in Negros Oriental also urged local bets to sign their own peace covenant and show their commitment to a safe, peaceful, and orderly elections. The Diocesan Electoral Board of the Diocese of Dumaguete will lead the peace covenant signing on March 18. Board convener Monsignor Julius Perpetuo Heruela revealed they were hoping to bring all provincial and local candidates to the peace covenant signing, but they are considering the restrictions brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, the Police Regional Office of Soxalgen reminded local candidates of the poll guidelines set amid the pandemic. The guidelines particularly prohibit house-to-house campaigning, handshaking, or other forms of physical contact, taking selfies or photographs close to people, and distribution of food and drinks. The campaign period for local elective positions is scheduled from March 25 to May 7. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondok.
The Commission on Elections First Division has dismissed the consolidated disqualification cases against presidential candidate Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. for lack of merit. The division decided against the petitions filed by the Akbayan Citizens Action Party, National Commission on Muslim Filipinos, Commissioner Abubakar Mangelen, and martial law survivor Bonifacio Ilagan. The petitioners sought to disqualify Marcos over his conviction for failure to file income tax returns. The Comelec division, however, said that based on the law, Marcos was only meted with a penalty of a fine for his failure to file his income tax returns. It said the failure to file income tax returns is not inherently wrong in the absence of a law punishing it. The camp of Marcos welcomed the ruling of the First Division to junk what it described as nuisance petitions. Another disqualification case against Marcos is pending before the Comelec's Second Division. Rizal Province and Quezon City and Metro Manila have been recognized as the country's most competitive provinces and cities. In the 2021 Cities and Municipalities Competitiveness Index, Rizal in Calabarzon garnered a score of 45.75, followed by Davao del Norte with 44.98 points and Camiguin with 42.29. Quezon City ranked the highest among highly urbanized cities with 59.3 points, followed by the City of Manila with 58.82 and Pasay City by a large margin with 52.8 points. Meanwhile, Naga City tops the most competitive component cities. Cainta Rizal is the most competitive among first to second class municipalities. Panglao in Bohol dominates the third to fourth class municipalities. And Rojas in Zamboanga del Norte leads the fifth to sixth class municipalities. The Cities and Municipalities Competitiveness Index is an annual ranking developed by the National Competitiveness Council with assistance of the United States Agency for International Development. Rankings are based on the sum of their scores on 4 pillars, namely economic dynamism, government efficiency, infrastructure, and resiliency. In our business news, the Philippine Economic Zone Authority wants to extend the work-from-home arrangement for information technology and business process outsourcing locators until September 12 this year. DPEZA asked the Fiscal Incentives Review Board, or FIRB, to implement the arrangement without imposing the 10% on-site requirement and decrease in fiscal incentives. In a statement, it said these temporary measures will help registered businesses in investment promotion agencies like PEZA to recover from the adverse impacts of the pandemic. PEZA Director General Charito Plaza said the proposal is merely temporary in consideration of the ongoing pandemic. PEZA also proposed to the FIRB to allow movement of its equipment and assets as long as these are covered by surety bond and appropriate permits, as well as to authorize PEZA to craft its own work-from-home guidelines for the sector. More stories from the newsroom. The World Health Organization is urging funding from rich countries to help in the fight against COVID-19. Back after a quick break, stay with the PNA Newsroom. Authorities in Surigao del Sur condemned the New People's Army for blocking a national highway and threatening residents and travelers in Cortes Town on Thursday. Colonel Joseph Bukirin, Director of Surigao del Sur Police Provincial Office, reported an undetermined number of rebels blocked a portion of the national highway in Sitio Lubcon, Barangay Mabahin. He said the NPA rebels, led by one Joel Maghinay alias Nico of NPA Guerrilla Front 30, flagged down and threatened motorists who happened to pass through the highway. The rebels also reportedly raided and ransacked the store and house of a retired army officer near the area. Bukirin said they will file appropriate criminal charges against the NPA rebels and their leaders. The NPA was also condemned for the death of 2 children caught in a crossfire while ambushing government troops in Catubig, Northern Samar on Tuesday, February 8. Andre Mercado, 12 years old, and Leandro Alivio, 13, died when NPA rebels attacked soldiers in the remote Rojas village. 2 other civilians were wounded during the incident. The Army's 803rd Infantry Brigade said their troops were patrolling the area following reports of the NPA's extortion activities. 803rd Brigade Commander Colonel Perfecto Peña Redondo also condemned the incident, saying this shows that the terrorist group does not respect human rights. The official assured the family of victims that they will be provided with assistance. Self-confessed drug dealer Roland Kerwin Espinosa has been deemed unfit to be a state witness by the Department of Justice. Espinosa and his family were removed from the Witness Protection Program following his attempted escape from the National Bureau of Investigation's holding facility last month. NBI's Administrative Service reported other lapses committed by Espinosa while in detention, including harassment of other inmates, smuggling drinking liquor, extortion, communicating with other inmates on drug cases, and possessing mobile phones and bladed weapons. The NBI earlier sought the transfer of Espinosa to the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology facility in Bicutan, Taguig. Last year, the Makati Regional Trial Court dismissed the illegal charges against Espinosa and co-accused Peter Co, Marcelo Adorco, and Lovely Impal. They have pending criminal charges in other trial courts in the country. In news overseas, the World Health Organization renewed its appeal to high-income countries to help spend on COVID-19 treatment and prevention for lower and middle-income nations to the tune of $16 billion. The WHO Act Accelerator is asking donor countries to contribute to its $23.4 billion total budget in immediate grant funding for October 2021 to September 2022. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus said the rapid spread of the Omicron variant made it necessary to give lower and middle-income nations equal access to vaccines, treatments, and personal protective equipment. He said science had given the world tools to fight COVID-19, and if they are shared globally, the world can reach its goals of ending the pandemic as a global health emergency this year. The WHO said only $814 million of the $16 billion has been pledged so far. The ACT Accelerator initiative works to overcome vast global inequities in COVID-19 testing, treatment, and prevention. Parent leaders of the 4Ps or Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program in Tubod, Lanao del Norte has launched a mental health module in Northern Mindanao. The module was launched with the help of the Department of Social Welfare and Development Region 10. It was created during the start of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. On Wednesday, a day-long activity for 4Ps parent leaders raised awareness on the importance of getting out of fear, stress, and loneliness brought about by the pandemic and other harmful situations. Walida Aziz of the Philippine Red Cross in Iligan City emphasized the importance of encouraging adults, care providers, and other groups like the 4Ps parent leaders to talk openly about their feelings to get help from their peers. Aziz said each household member plays a major role in preventing mental health conditions. Good news for members of the Philippine Coast Guard. Commissioned officers, enlisted personnel, and civilian employees can now enjoy free rides at the LRT2. The PCG said the free rides are part of a memorandum of agreement signed with the Light Rail Transit Authority. Under the agreement, the PCG will support security measures at LR2 stations by providing teams to assist in emergency drills. PCG K9 dogs and handlers shall also patrol train stations alongside security guards. To help boost security against COVID-19, the PCG will help conduct RT-PCR tests on LRTA workers. In addition to providing free train rides to PCG personnel, LRTA officials shall also become members of the PCG Auxiliary Executive Squadron, where they shall support the PCG on humanitarian and disaster response operation. And we end the week with big news for K-drama fans. The love month just got sweeter for South Korean top stars Yoon Bin and Son Ye-jin as they are now ready to embark on a journey to forever. In separate Instagram posts, the stars of the hit 2020 drama Crash Landing on You announced that they are getting married. Yoon Bin, through his agency Vast Entertainment, says he considers this as an important decision in his life and thanks his fans for their all-out support. Meanwhile, Son also expressed delight in making the announcement, saying she urged fans to celebrate the beginning of their future. The couple plans to hold the wedding in Seoul with the occasion limited to their parents, relatives, and friends. The two actors, both 40 years old, became lovers in March 2020, 2 years after they first paired in the 2018 hit action movie The Negotiation. Congratulations and best wishes, Riri couple. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Situation improving. A group says Metro Manila is likely to shift to very low risk for COVID-19 by March. But the health department is worried over poll campaign activities, drawing crowds that may become super spreader events. The government aims to fully inoculate 70 million Filipinos by the end of March. Employers are urged to give leeway to their workers who will have their children jobbed as the Bayanihan Bakunahan drive continues. A division of the Commission on Elections allows Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos to run for president, junking disqualification cases against the former senator. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19.
So remember, wear face masks and face shields. Wash your hands often. Practice safe physical distancing. Go out only for essential reasons. And get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19.
Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell stories that inspire change. I'm Marita Muaje. Stay safe and have a good day.